From artifacts way too advanced for their time to stones far too large to be moved by humans, here is Forbidden Archaeology, an impossible truth for humankind. Artifacts from Sanxingdui. The ruins of a remarkable unknown culture existed in China from 3000 BC to 1000 BC in the southwestern Sichuan province. A farmer came across some unbelievable artifacts while digging a ditch in 1929. Thousands of rare treasures were dug up, and it's considered to be one of the most important archaeological dig sites in China. Some consider it to be the ninth wonder of the world and seemingly belong to a mysterious civilization, considering that none of these are marked with Chinese characters. The Chinese were also very meticulous in recording their history, and absolutely no text referred to this culture. The city here was rather advanced and contained city walls and many bronze sculptures. Here we see a bronze mask that was discovered here, and it's at least 3,000 years old. Doesn't it look rather odd? Other things such as elephant tusks, jade, and even the 8-foot-high bronze statue suggest that this was a rather advanced civilization. The Book of Kings. One mysterious text that was written in the Mesopotamia region is certainly the List of Kings. This cuneiform tablet was known as the Sumerian Kings List, and it dates back to 2100 BC. It's essentially a list of 140 different kings, some which seem to live abnormally long lives. Although the Sumerians were quite advanced for the age in which they lived, living to 40 years was quite long back then. However, the kings were direct descendants of the gods, and the list states that some even lived to be tens of thousands of years old. One record of one of the kings, named Alaunagar, states that his reign lasted 36,000 years. What's going on here? Then as you look at the list of more recent dynasties, the kings' reigns are a little bit more normal. Although it's possible some of these are exaggerated, other historical records seem to have people living this long. What do you believe? Noah's Ark. Some feel as though the ancient flood that is talked about in the Bible actually did happen, and there has been some physical evidence of it taking place. While there is no evidence of the Ark itself, evidence of the flood could exist. In the Mesopotamian book called the Epic of Gilgamesh, they discuss the story of an epic flood that would wipe out all of mankind. The map of the entire Middle East and as far north as Crimea would have looked completely different, but the flood would not have covered the entire earth. Geologists believe that it's likely the Tigris and Euphrates River flooded due to the 3.4 meter thick layer of flood deposits that were uncovered. In ancient times, this probably would have seemed like the entire earth. Could the flood have actually led to more advancements and made land more fertile for things such as agriculture? The Antikythera Mechanism. According to the mathematician Tony Freeth, if it hadn't been discovered, no one would possibly believe that it could have existed because it's so sophisticated. Many refer to it as the 2,000-year-old computer built by the ancient Greeks and is capable of calculating astronomical positions and eclipses with unbelievable precision. Made completely out of bronze, this remarkable device is thousands of years ahead of its time. It's one of the most complex devices in the ancient world. Precise metal and engineered gears were used that we still don't have in watchmaking technology in modern times. This goes to show you how the Greeks had the capabilities of finally producing machinery as well as scientific understanding of the universe. Instead of believing the gods completely controlled the cosmos, they knew it came down to precisely defined rules, which made this device much more advanced than we once thought. Drug mummies. Could one of the most advanced ancient civilizations in the world have possibly been constructed under the influence of intoxicating substances? An Egyptian mummy of an ancient 3,000-year-old priestess was discovered with Western drugs and has puzzled Egyptologists. In 1992, a well-respected German scientist, Dr. Baalbek, and two colleagues reported finding cocaine, hashish, and nicotine with Egyptian mummies. The finding possibly suggests that the Egyptians could have had some contact with the Americas before anyone had reportedly crossed the Atlantic. The coca and nicotine was completely unheard of until Walter Raleigh introduced tobacco smoking from the New World. The white powdery substance wasn't brought into England until the Victorian ages. The mummy went through thorough toxicology exams using hair and tissue samples to determine if drugs were present in the system. Surprisingly, it tested back positive. Thinking it was a mistake, they double-checked, and it still tested positive. Did the ancient Egyptians have more advanced trade routes than we once possibly thought? Or somehow, did they have advanced knowledge of these substances? Ancient flashlights. Although no direct physical evidence exists, many are believing to truly believe that ancient Egyptians had access to electrical light. Maybe Thomas Edison didn't invent the light bulb after all. We already know that ancient civilizations had access to electricity by looking at the Baghdad battery. Would it be so far-fetched to believe that they had access to light bulbs as well? This sculpture here, found at the Hathor Temple at the Dendera Temple complex, could bring light on some theories on how ancient tombs were painted. How were the ancient Egyptians able to produce such massive masterpieces of art within tombs deep within structures underground? Torches would have been also difficult due to low levels of oxygen. Mirrors seemed unlikely due to the design of the tunnels. With all the strange discoveries from the past, could this theory be true? Baalbek. You won't find this ancient structure in Rome or Greece. Try Lebanon. Some believe that it's evidence of a super civilization. In Roman times, it was known as Heliopolis, or Sun City, and is home to some of the largest stones ever quarried. Some stones actually weighed 1,200 tons, and some of these temples remain a true enigma of how they were constructed. The oldest parts of this ruin have no known origins, despite some of the buildings at this site being Roman, like the Temple of Jupiter. It seems highly unlikely for the Romans to be able to quarry such large stones. They had neither the technology nor the resources, especially due to the fact that this site is so far from Rome. It outdates all known civilizations that inhabited the area. Fortunately, it has survived the centuries despite many wars in the region, but with recent conflict, it's suggested to avoid the area. Sacsayhuaman. These mysterious rocks in Peru were extremely large and placed on top of each other with serious precision. These are believed to be ancient Quilca ruins outside the city of Cusco and were a part of a fortified or religious complex. Very little is known about this civilization that lived in Peru before the Incas. Working with such massive stones, only theories can be made to try to explain it. The stones first had to be cut at a quarry, and each stone would have to be moved by hundreds of people to lift it, if that's even possible. The method used to precisely match the shape of the stone with the stones next to them is still a mystery. This proves how little we know about our own history. Number 4. Nazca Lines. Although you likely wouldn't be able to notice from a ground level, the Nazca Lines are a group of large trenches located in Peru that form various images if you look at them from above. Each figure is fairly complex, and it's almost as if they were trying to send a message to the gods looking down on them. There are more than 70 designs of animals and even a strange-looking human. As you can tell, the human has very noticeably large eyes, which almost makes it seem not human at all. They were created by the Nazca people sometime between 500 BC to 500 AD, and have managed to stay mysteriously well-preserved throughout the centuries. But why would ancient people go through so much painstaking labor to create artwork that they would never be able to see? Gate of the Sun. Located near Lake Titicaca in the ancient city of Tiwanaku is a mysterious prehistoric gate that could date back to 14,000 BC. This makes it much older than the city of Ur in Mesopotamia by 11,000 years. Stones in this city are known to weigh as much as 150 tons. Prehistoric people seem to be capable of some miraculous things from time to time, and it's believed that all 3 stones combine to weigh 10 tons total. This was considered to be the Gate of the Gods, so it was pretty important. There are various images sculpted into the top of this gate, which most likely appears to be the sun god of this ancient kingdom. Others claim the gate holds astronomical significance, and it frames the sun on special days during sunset. Archaeologists might refuse to believe that Bolivia could actually be the cradle of civilization, making it somewhat of an impossible truth. The Quinn Via Airplanes. The Quinn Via Airplanes are golden artifacts that were found in Colombia and made by the Quinn Via civilization. This group of people is known for making many bizarre artifacts that would make a lot of people wonder if they were even human. Many believe this is evidence of ancient civilizations having contact with people who had flying capabilities. Of course, mainstream archaeologists want to describe these as flying lizards, birds, or even insects. Others believe the answers to these mysteries are found from out of this world. Supporters of this theory claim the objects are far too aerodynamically accurate and the replicas have proven to fly. At the very least, it appears to show that the ancients had some knowledge about what was required to make things fly. In these photos, you can see some of these objects even seem to have propellers and appear to resemble quite similar to our modern aircraft. Was this civilization visited by alien life and carved these sculptures in their form? The Dorset Pot. A strange metal vase-like object was apparently blasted out of rock during an explosion in Dorchester, Massachusetts in 1852. Being situated 10 feet below the surface, it's surrounded by rock at the bottom of a deep rift basin. It's believed to be anywhere from 570 to 593 million years old. What's also rather interesting is the fact that it's made from an unknown alloy of copper, zinc, tin, arsenic, iodine, and selenium. Mainstream archaeologists claim it's nothing more than a typical artifact, possibly imported from another country, but no one can completely put together the pieces from this puzzle. Native Americans clearly weren't known for their metal craftsmanship, and obviously took some skill from someone who knew what they were doing. Some even believe it was created by a civilization of people that actually predated the flood depicted in the Bible and by the Mesopotamians.